I'm Phyllis. I live in my van. Today I want to answer some of the questions that you've asked in comments about the van tour I did with Bob Wells. It was a truly special moment. It was so wonderful. And y'all, we all were so nice in the comments. I really couldn't believe how sweet y'all were. So I wanted to take the time to try to answer all your questions. I did answer some of them in comments. I hope y'all saw them. But I wrote down everything I could find about your questions, and I want to answer those. I also want to just tell you what it was like to meet Bob, my hero. I'm wearing the shirt that I wore for that van tour. I just thought it might be a nice little detail. But anyway, I've been watching Bob Wells videos for years. It was one of his videos that I watched that made me see that being a nomad was the life for me. I really want to cry thinking about it. It changed my life. He changed my life. And I've been watching his videos ever since. They taught me how to be a nomad and led me to other beautiful nomad YouTube channels that also helped me out a lot. So I was on Instagram. I followed Bob Wells on Instagram. I hate to just call him Bob. Like, I don't know you like that. Sir Wells. I want to call him Sir Wells. Saying they were looking for people to do van tours. And that post was 3 hours old when I saw it. And I responded right away. And I got an email back with an appointment for 3 weeks from that day. So that's how many people wanted to do van tours with Bob, that he immediately, as soon as he posted that Instagram post, immediately got booked up 3 weeks ahead. I really only wanted to do it to meet Bob because I idolize him so much. And I had to wait, and it was February 5th that we did the van tour. So, and I thought, I didn't think they'd honestly take me because my van's kind of boring. Y'all, I was so nervous. I actually have a heart arrhythmia, and when I get stressed out, it's worse, and I can actually pass out. So I was really afraid I was going to pass out in front of Bob, and I would just been mortified. So I took my heart medication in the morning when I didn't even have trouble, just to make sure I didn't pass out. I know, it's so silly. So we met at the library in Quartzsite. He's kind of famous, so he doesn't invite you to his camp because, and I don't blame him. He has to be very careful because there's crazy people out there. So we met at the library, and he pulled up. You've probably seen, if you watch his videos. Oh no, you do. He pulled up in his little ATV with his friend Linda, who's super sweet. Hi, Linda. Oh, and hi, Bob. And I was so nervous. And so they got out and they introduced themselves. And I said, Bob, I'm probably going to act really stupid for about 10 minutes because I'm so nervous. I'm so excited to meet you. And he was so sweet. He said, don't worry, everybody does that. Isn't that sweet? It's like, it's okay. You can fangirl out. So what happened next was actually kind of a good thing because he forgot, I don't remember what it was, but he forgot a piece of equipment that he needed to film. And so Bob went back to their camp to get it, and Linda stayed with me. So we went inside my van and we just chit-chatted until Bob got back. And that actually was really good because I was so nervous, and just chit-chatting with another lady of a certain age, if y'all know what that means, it really helped relax me. And by the time Bob got back, I was pretty good to go. So Bob and I talked for a few minutes about what was going to happen with the van tour. And I was actually used to being on television because when I worked for the city of Dallas, I first worked in vector control. So that's mosquito control. I had a positive encephalitis. So the news would call and they would want to have a face, a talking head is what they call it. They wanted to have a talking head for the story. And my boss would never go, so I would go. So I was on the news probably 4 or 5 times every summer for a couple of years. And then I moved over to air pollution control. And whenever there was an ozone exceedance, they would want a talking head. And my boss there would never go on. So I was on the news a bunch every summer. So I knew how to be on camera. I knew how to be like on, you know. And I even offered Bob, I said, do you want me to take off my sunglasses so you can see my eyes? He said, yes, if you don't mind. And I wore this shirt because it's red and red's good on camera. Even though I usually wear black, you probably noticed. And I told him what I was willing to talk about because he's so nice that he's not going to ask you something that's going to make you uncomfortable. So I told him straight up front that I was willing to talk about my finances and I was willing to talk about my health issues. And he didn't really go into that, but that's fine. I forgot to tell you, when he first got out of his little of his ATV, I was gonna ask him if I could shake his hand, but y'all, he got out and I had my hand out like to shake his hand. He said, "Can I have a hug?" And I almost cried because y'all watch him, so you know what he does for the nomad community. And so that was so special. So just doing the van tour to get a hug was worth it to me. So it went pretty well, I thought. And I asked him how it went at the end. And he said, that's as easy as it gets. I was like, oh my gosh, I did good for Bob. You wanted to go easy for him. And a lot of the videos, and I know it's sweet when people open all their drawers and stuff, and I don't need to know where your spatula lives, and so I didn't tell him where my spatula lives. And actually when the video came out and I saw it, I thought I was kind of boring because I was trying to be like normal, because if y'all watch my videos, you know I'm kind of wacky and I have like a big personality, and I didn't want the video to be about me. I wanted it to be about my van. So I toned it way down. So when I watched the video, sorry, I was a little thinking about Bob. So when I watched the video, I thought I was super boring and my van was super boring. And I was just so touched seeing all y'all's comments. But it was a beautiful experience. And that's why I started my YouTube channel, because I know Bob promotes the social media of the people he does van tours for. So I thought I may as well have something to promote. So I actually started my YouTube channel right before, in that 3-week period, right before I did the van tour. So I'm so glad I did. I'm having so much fun talking to y'all and interacting with y'all. Gotta check on my rice. I've got brown rice on the stove. I really shouldn't leave my stove going in the van, but I do. Because you know how Bob says, you don't use propane inside. He says, I can do it because I have special powers, but you can't do it. So I had those special powers too, and I use propane inside my van. But y'all don't do it because you don't have the special powers that I have. So I'm gonna go check on my rice. Rice is still cooking. When you're at altitude, it seems to take things longer. And brown rice, takes a longer time than white rice. So since I'm talking about rice, maybe I'll go ahead and talk to you about cooking in my van. That was one of the questions that y'all had. I have just a Coleman propane stove that people use for camping. And I cook like real meals on it. I don't just heat up a can of soup, although I sometimes do heat up a can of soup. Now I wish I'd cook white rice instead of brown rice because it's been almost an hour. And it's, look at it. Look how hard that is. It's still cooking. I put in some, I had this whole red pepper. I wish I remember the lady's name that gave that to me. She used to be a circus clown. I'm gonna find her name before I post this video. But she gave me this whole red pepper that she picked, I think she said at her house before she got rid of her house. And I've got some bay leaves in there, and I cut up a jalapeno. So it's gonna be good if it ever finishes cooking. Someone else asked me about, do I eat healthy? And I think I probably do. Not like religiously healthy. I'm not vegan. I don't eat all organic, but I eat, you could probably say mostly a plant-based diet, but that's partly just because of what I like. And I do really like chicken, but the smallest package I've found is like 4 thighs, and I can't eat 4 thighs before they go bad because y'all might have noticed I'm kind of little. So I rarely buy meat. I'll occasionally buy a package of bacon because it'll last a long time. I'll buy like a package of smoked sausage sometime, and I'll just use that as flavorings, like in vegetables, just like, you know, like a handful in my dinner. And eating this way is actually cheaper too. If you cook for yourself, and this goes into my budget too, which I'm gonna talk about later. If you cook for yourself, you don't have to spend a lot of money, but you still have to be careful on what you buy. You can't buy a ton of convenience foods. Like you saw in one of my other videos, I do buy convenience foods sometimes. I usually buy one like treat thing each trip. I eat a lot of rice. I eat a lot of, well, I eat white rice and brown rice, depending on what I'm cooking it with. And I eat a lot of vegetables. I love eggs. I like fried eggs and toast with butter. I do eat butter. I don't think butter's bad for you. I really don't. My cholesterol is just fine. It's actually kind of low because of my low meat consumption. I think it's all about moderation. I eat a lot of fruit. Oh, by the way, y'all, fruit's really good if the water that you find, even if it's potable, maybe it doesn't taste too good. If you cut up like a kiwi, or I love those little mini seedless watermelons they have at Walmart. They're like $4, which is a great deal. If you put like kiwi or the watermelon, or I got some plums recently, just put a little bit of fruit in the water and it can just make it taste good. Even the water is kind of funky. Oh, someone asked me also, I think it was the same guy, if I exercise a lot and if that's why I'm small. I do. I guess you call it exercising. I walk a lot. I probably walk an hour to 2 hours a day just because I love it. So if you want to call it exercise, I mean, it is exercise, but I'm not like going to a gym. Several people asked me about healthcare. I have Medicaid because I don't have an income, so I got Medicaid. And medication. Even with the Medicaid, some of my medications, I've got like 6, whatever, are expensive. So I go to Mexico to get my medications, and they are good quality medications, and they're just like dirt cheap. Los Algodones, and I'm not talking about any other town. I would not cross the border in Mexico because, you know, you probably heard about those murders last year. But Los Algodones, Mexico was set up just for medical tourism for Americans. It is safe. You'll feel great there. Everyone speaks English. You should go. I'm sorry if this is boring. I just wanted to answer all your questions. The question I was really going to answer first, because it was the one that came up the most in the comments on Bob Wells' video, is about my budget. Yes, it's $800 a month. Get my chair in a good light. I'm going to sit down again. That's okay right there. I did not have a mortgage on my house, and it was a bankruptcy. So it was about $70,000. So when I sold it last June 30th, and I didn't use a realtor. I sold it on Facebook in one day. I know that's insane. So I sold my house for cash. He paid the closing costs, and I didn't have a mortgage. So that's what I'm living on right now. So I made myself that budget after sitting down and looking at numbers. The only like regular bills I have every month are my cell phone bill. I have a cell phone and an iPad, and they both have unlimited data. And that's, I think it's $90 a month. And then the insurance on my van, I don't have a lot on it. That's a little under $100 a month. So those are my only two regular bills. I don't spend a lot on groceries because I'm cheap, and honestly, I just don't eat that much. I usually don't drive a whole lot. If you don't move a lot, you don't have to spend a lot on gas. I don't typically pay to camp. I typically disperse camp. Every once in a while, I'll stay at a established campground. I stayed at one night before last because it was only $10, and they had showers and water, and I thought that was worth the $10 right there. Having a hot shower and filling up my tank and empty out my garbage and everything. So I just don't spend a lot of money. Oh, and I do also have a 401k. I did mention that I get my pension from the city of Dallas when I'm 62. It's only $1,000, but that's more than I'm budgeted now. And then when I'm 65, I can get my 401k. Someone also asked me about my carbon footprint because of driving. Like, I'm being bad for the environment because I drive a lot. But why are you watching a Nomad channel if you think that, first of all? And second, I looked up the average miles people drive per year in their vehicle, and I can't pull it up now because I don't have cell service. But I think it was about 13,000 miles. And that's about what I drove last year. So if I'm not driving any more than the average driver, I'm not hurting the environment with my polluting vehicle. Also, when you think about it, I'm using so many fewer resources. I'm not using electricity because I have solar. I use, I don't know, about 20 gallons a week of water. And you flush that, the people flush that down the toilet each time they flush. So I'm very light on the earth as far as that goes. Some people asked about dispersed camping, and I can't really compact that right now into this video, so I think I'll make a whole video about how to find dispersed camping. Someone asked if you have to have a CDL to drive a cargo van. You do not. You don't have to. I don't think even at Class A you have to have a CDL, so don't worry about that. Some people asked me about how to poop and pee in a van. I have a whole video about that, so you can watch that for that. A lot of y'all have noticed how awesome my hat is, and it is in fact super awesome. I bought this hat at a truck stop gift shop, I think in New Mexico. And it's funny because when I first saw it, I thought I could never pull that off. That's just too much of a hat for me. And now I cannot imagine not having this hat. I have on there a piece of silk cord, a piece of leather, And those 3 medallions in the front are actually ancient Chinese coins I got in Taiwan about 18 years ago. I just love this hat to pieces. It is leather and you can't have it. But look at that hat. Ooh. So when you become a nomad, you go find yourself an awesome hat because you need it. I think that's most of the questions, and I probably already bored y'all to death. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my video with Bob Wells. He's so amazing. Thanks for subscribing. And if there's anything else y'all want to know, just put it in the comments in one of my videos because I read all my comments. I love y'all so much. Thank you for being my tribe. It really means a lot to me. And y'all have a great day.